Hey everybody. The original song I'm uploading for this week is one I wrote about 10 years ago. It's called Good Time Charlie. It's about Charlie Wilson, the U.S. congressman from Texas who died back in 2010, and he was the subject of a great movie called Charlie Wilson's War. And I don't even remember how I saw that movie, but it's a movie about Charlie Wilson, the U.S. congressman, and it stars Tom Hanks, Julia Roberts, and Philip Seymour Hoffman, and it was kind of a good movie. It was about a political movie, but also kind of a tribute to this U.S. congressman. He was very old school Texas, kind of a good old boy, pretty heavy old school drinker. You know, a lot of secretaries around who couldn't type, old time Washington D.C. stuff, and very anti-communist, which of course is a great thing to see in our political representatives. And he got very involved in fighting the Russians in Afghanistan, and was one of the main figures in securing a lot of the funding that during the 80s. And this song, I wrote it, and I didn't even really remember writing it, but when I listened back to it just last week, but anyway, this is Good Time Charlie, and I didn't really remember recording it, but it's got someone named Gene Moon on bass. Other than that, it's all me, and I do play some slide guitar and flat pick a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to catch your flat picking in recordings for some reason. I've always thought, but I do get to highlight my flat picking a little bit in this one. So I hope you like it. Thanks. God bless. This song is inspired by the true life story of the great congressman from Texas, Charlie Wilson. I think they made a movie a few years back about him, starring Tom Hanks. It's called Charlie Wilson's War. The story goes something like this. Here we go. Congressman of a great way now, setting them up and putting them down in Houston. Let's bring that boy another cold round. Oh, watch out, girls, Good Time Charlie's out on the town. Well, Texas boy, through and through, said, sir and ma'am, and how do you do? Went to Congress, elected back in 72. Oh, watch out, D.C., Good Time Charlie's coming for you. Well, Good Time Charlie was a ladies' man, had him a lady by the name of Joanne, pretty lady. Down in Houston. And one day she took him right by the hand, said, Charlie, my boy, we gotta do what we can to get the Russians out of Afghanistan. Well, Charlie rose and he answered the call, went up to Congress and he rose up tall, old school, raised to hate the Soviet wall. Charlie said, let's beat those Russians once and for all. All right, here we go. 10 years past of the war routine. Times were hard and the times were lean. Stinger missiles, Osama and the Mujahideen. But finally Charlie got to watch the Russians leaving the scene. Well, Charlie Wilson, he was nobody's fool, said we ought to help them retool, build a highway, maybe even build them a school. Good Time Charlie, caring for the folks in Kabul. Well, nobody listened to Charlie the man, and up arose the Taliban, bringing order and ruling by the Holy Quran. And Charlie wondered, is this the fate of Afghanistan? Well, Charlie said that it's always the same. We leave out the same door that we came. Win the battles, then we lose the freaking end of the game. Well, good time Charlie, he's wondering who's really to blame. On September 11th came the great evil plan, and everyone knew just where it began. From Al-Qaeda, 19 guys in a cave. They were aided by the Taliban, so we bombed them hard, all according to plan. How ironic, we bombed our boys in Afghanistan. Well, good time Charlie finally came to an end. Doctors knew it was coming, but they couldn't say when. Charlie fooled them, he passed away in 2010. Well, good time Charlie, we won't see his likes once again. And when they finally put him away, everybody, they had great things to say about old Charlie, a congressman who knew how to play. Well, good time Charlie, we sure could use you round here today. Yeah, good time Charlie. Good time Charlie.